Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Grey Man Profits for the Advanced Learners, and today we're deep diving the movement of the stock market last week and how to predict it for this week. So let's do a deep dive. Okay, first of all, you would have seen some extremely volatile movements on the last couple of days of last week. Basically, on Thursday and Friday, we saw the S&P 500 drop 10% within 30 minutes. We also saw crypto take the largest hit it has ever seen in history. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all in the red, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, losing 10% over one day. Luckily enough, we did have a buyback over the weekend, but that's mostly because, of course, external factors were closed, such as the usual market. And additionally, we've had people buy the dips. And additionally, gold and silver are at all-time highs. But more importantly, on Thursday, we had a 1,000 pip drop based on New York selling gold shares like no tomorrow, which if you analyze it a little bit, goes, okay, they've taken an easy liquidity sweep, a quick cash grab. Luckily enough, on the Friday, it did retrace 600 pips, but nowhere near to what we were expecting, and it created a bullish market out of nowhere. How does this affect the market? Well, in my personal opinion, I have a feeling that this has a factor of course, the external pressures at the moment, but mostly to concern with the AI bubble. They've realized that, of course, there have been billions of dollars invested into these companies that are developing new AI tech, but they're plateauing. Realistically, you have to look at that, of course, the world is trying to transition to an electrical grid, basically more efficient power source. But the only problem is we don't have the infrastructure for it at the moment. And the only way that these AIs can advance is they need more processing power. In other words, they need more electricity, more resources to build more efficient systems, and it is not coming. One of the biggest crashes with this is going to be the fact that, of course, as gold, silver, and platinum raise in price, it becomes unaffordable to be able to manufacture these new microchips and new systems at the cost that they were originally intending. Meaning that once again, just like the dot-com boom, once these things happen to us, saying that people take money out of the Federal Reserve or out of the US government and place it into gold, silver, and platinum for longevity, that all this money that has been invested into, of course, AI development is going to become crashing down. So, how do we make money off this? Well, of course, if you're looking at the market today and realizing everything's a little bit low, so we most likely are going to go into a bullish trend, you do have to realize that on Tuesday, so tomorrow, we have the Fed rate cuts agreement, meaning that the news is going to come out whether they are going to continue to print money in the US. Of course, this is going to drop the US dollar and raise everything else that is in retrospect to it, gold, silver, and other currencies. And additionally, we have political dismay, meaning that, of course, the news is coming out between China, India, and America, where they're having basically turf wars. The main one being between China and America, especially when it comes to tariffs on these exact things that we need to build machinery. They are buying up companies just solely for rare earth metals, meaning cobalt, all other things that we need to make our phones, make other technology useful to this, is now becoming unaffordable. And if we do, we have to buy it from China at a sturdy uptick. How does this affect us? Well, it means that most likely when the market is going to open, it is going to be a steady uptick for about a day or so, and we are going to crash later in the week. So I would not predict longs later than Tuesday or Wednesday, especially depending on how these interactions go out. Hope you have a lovely afternoon. Bye.